If there's anything Ghost has ever been known for, it is taking advantage of very powerful people who can get done what he wants to get done. And in this video, I will be exploring just who exactly these people are. They have been right in our faces this entire time. There's already talks of a possible return. Omari Hardwick has confirmed that Stars has contacted him in the past year. One thing I'm very certain about is that they are planning it just based on the way things played out in these final episodes of this season. This season could have easily ended with Tariq having a stronger connection with Noma, but the producers made Noma his top enemy for a reason, and the only person that I feel will be able to help Tariq get through this is someone that can match Noma's level. Now, this doesn't mean that starting with season 4, they're immediately going to show Ghost. It is something that they're going to build up to eventually. Noma is not going to go anywhere. At this point, she has a lot of power, she has a lot of people on her side, and I feel like in the first episodes of season 4, she's going to try to do everything she can to try and stop Tariq. And obviously one thing that we're going to be able to see is how she manipulates everybody that is now on her side. The only way that Noma operates is by using people to her advantage, and like I said, she has a lot of power. But what these people do not know is the fact that Tariq has been talking with her partner. That is the one advantage that Tariq has at the moment. And he knows Ghost. Let me explain. There's rumors of a London spin-off that could involve Ghost. Obi is from overseas, and as far as we know right now, we don't really know too much about Obi, but we do know that he ran in the same circle as Mecca, and based on what we know from Mecca, Mecca was really familiar with who Ghost was.
I know about your dad, Ghost.
And it's most likely that they all worked together at a certain point. He clearly wants out. He doesn't want to be bossed around by Noma anymore, and this is something that the rest of them don't know. Obi would want help from anybody that he can get help from at this point. When you really pay some thought to it, Ghost would be one of these type of people that could also get him what he wants. And one of the things that I'm certain made him want to trust Tariq more was knowing that he is Ghost's son. And I feel like the only way Tariq could get back to having Obi finding a way out is if he has help from someone with a lot of power. They didn't put Tommy in there by accident. And just notice how suspiciously he kept reminding Tariq about Ghost, about the decisions that Ghost made about being both a civilian and a gangster at the same time.
Your father tried to ride one out between two worlds. That's what f***ed him up. If you want to survive, you either a civilian or a gangster. There ain't no in between.
Don't you guys find this suspicious? It's almost as if Tommy knows something that nobody else knows. Where did Tommy go right after this scene? Who told him to follow Tariq? And how did he know exactly where he was? I wonder who was behind all of that. Think about it, pay some thought to it. We do not know what Tommy has been up to since we last saw him down in Chicago. And for those saying that there's no way that Tommy and Ghost could have not already had an encounter, just listen to what the actor who plays Tommy himself had to say.
Okay, what are we? Will Ghost make an appearance as a ghost? Well, he very well might, and he may make an appearance as an alive character. You never know. He may make an appearance as an alive character. You never know.
They're clearly building up something big between these three characters, and it will all make sense when I show you this huge clue that you all missed. Now, I want you guys to look at this scene very closely right here and notice if you guys see anything suspicious, something that looks familiar. Look very closely. We know that we haven't really been caught up with what Tommy has been doing since we last saw him down in Chicago, and we don't know, like I said, who he's had contact with. Tommy is someone who wants to make as much money as possible, and someone like Obi would obviously be someone that he would reach out to. This right here clearly looks like Black Dahlia. Black Dahlia is a black powder, not a white powder. If you look very closely, you can tell that there's a black powder inside the plastic. This is a clear indicator that there's more things going on behind the scenes than what we know already. We do not know who Tommy has been communicating with since we last saw him down in Chicago. So you had to really put into perspective. If you could reach someone like Obi, and if you would want to work with him, you can only imagine who else he could have possibly reached out to in order to make more money. Someone like Tommy would not want to risk being caught by the feds since he faked his death, but for some reason he really wanted to look out for Tariq, and I feel like it's not in Tommy's character to really do that. I feel like someone else put him up for this. Pay some thought to it. Goes with somebody who had access to a lot of people, and I believe that one of these people that he currently has access to is RSJ, someone who continues to also bring up Ghost in Tariq's face.
Interesting. Tariq, would the late, great James St. Patrick be an example of how our kind of people can pull themselves up by their own bootstraps?
Just based on the way that he's speaking, describing Ghost as someone who picked himself up from his own bootstraps, clearly lets us know that he knows exactly who Ghost is and where he came from. And he's clearly hinting at the fact that he also came from the same environment that Ghost came from. This scene is clearly here to tell us that they knew each other at a certain point. Now, why exactly would Ghost want to work with RSJ? One of the most important things Kanan taught Ghost was how to remain 10 steps ahead of everybody. Someone like Ghost who was in business with a lot of powerful people would have already been familiar with how shady the Westons are, and what better way to make sure that his money is safe and secured than to have someone he knows and trusts keep his eyes on everything that's going on, which explains how RJ conveniently showed up right as Tariq was starting to do business with the Westons. Don't you guys find everything suspicious? Because either way, they were going to cross paths in this meeting. If he wants something to get done, he would only depend on powerful people like RSJ. Notice how frustrated RSJ was when he found out what the Westons were doing.
I've never met a man with so little integrity in my life.
Whoa, sorry, where's this coming from?
I know it's a Ponzi, Lucas.
RSJ, I am so sorry. To cover...
Stop talking! I call the SEC tonight. Or we can handle it another way. And I keep my mouth shut. In exchange, you return every dollar of my investment and Tariq's trust fund. And Tariq's trust fund.
There's clearly a reason behind his frustration, and I believe that someone encouraged them to do something about the trust fund that he had in place for Tariq, which is why the trust fund was quote-unquote lost. You cannot seriously tell me that RSJ never suspected the Westons doing any shady business. I'm pretty sure that he knew from the start, but what really bothered him here was the fact that they were playing with Ghost's money. He clearly did not want to do business with them from the very start for a very specific reason, and he only wanted to participate if Tariq wanted to participate. Think about that. He also didn't want to have this conversation if Tariq wasn't present in the meeting. They're making it seem like Tariq completely lost the trust fund.
My trust fund is gone, alright? I lost it in a Ponzi scheme. What? Wait.
But as we all know, Ghost was someone who was always 10 steps ahead of everybody, and there's clearly something deeper revolving around the trust fund that we don't know about yet. Someone else was behind getting it back. This is not being done by accident, guys. There's a meaning behind it, and this will eventually lead up to something. I feel like RSJ is going to play a major role in Season 4, a much bigger role than what we saw in season 3. He's obviously somebody from the streets, and I'm pretty sure that he knew exactly who Ghost was. How exactly did he know that Ghost was part of that life? It's almost as if he knows that Ghost was involved in the streets for a major part of his life, and he knows this, and he's telling this to Tariq. And if Ghost has access to just this one powerful person that we've seen so far in the spinoff, you can only imagine how many more people he has working for him, keeping his eyes on Tariq, and also keeping his eyes on Noma. We often forget that Ghost was somebody that was part of the streets. He had a lot of connections, and there's rumors of a London spinoff that could involve him. We know that Obi is from overseas. We do not know who Ghost has contact with. That's one of the good things about his character, is that as much as we think we know from him, from the series, we never saw his life before that. We never saw his life before making that transition into, building that club and, just being part of that life. That was sort of the in-between, but we never know the connections that he made before that. And just based on what Omari Hardwick has been teasing online, they're clearly building up towards something. Pay some thought to it. And as far as the people that are saying that this could have been them just asking him to come back for that flashback scene was filmed back in 2021. That was 2 years ago. Omari said they reached out to him a year and a half ago. They were shooting season 3 of Ghost. Think about it. The sequence definitely had to involve something that played out in season 3. But Omari, as we heard in the interview, he was asking, from my understanding, he was asking for more money.
They asked me in the last year and a half to come back. When I was offered this. When I was in Boston reading this script, I was in Boston saying, okay, then this. And then the then this went to stars, and then they didn't come back giving me what I wanted on the then this.
If you were to ask me in which scene he would have returned, it would definitely have to have been that warehouse scene where Brayden shows up. I mean, when you really put into perspective, why would the writers have originally put Brayden in there? Do you see this in Brayden's nature? Turning off the lights, coming in and saving Tariq. I feel like this was supposed to be Ghost's scene right here. This was a scene that stars wanted Omari Hardwick for. And just with the timing between the lights going off and Brayden arriving, there's no doubt in my mind that Ghost was actually there. I mean, think about it. Tariq was about to be completely taken out in this scene. If Brayden had not arrived on time, things would have ended very differently for Tariq. And I don't think someone like Ghost, if it is that he's still alive, which he clearly is, because they're building up towards it, I doubt that he would have let this happen to him. Ghost was definitely in there, and just based on the timing, like I said, he was the person who took all the lights. Why would they have Brayden, out of everybody, show up and save Tariq like that? When I saw it, it really made me excited, but at the same time I felt like it was a little bit unbelievable. This kid who just got his first body is all of a sudden showing up here, turning off the lights. That's something that's in Ghost's nature. I believe the scene was meant for Ghost, but due to the things that have gone on behind the scenes with Omari Hardwick demanding more, it just didn't play out like that. And I feel like, unfortunately, we might not be able to see him in the first couple episodes of season 4, but that doesn't mean we won't be able to see him in the other half, because he is talking about this online. And if an actor is talking about this online, that means that there's already been talks about his return. That means that there's been various talks between him and stars about a possible return. I mean, think about it, guys. Pay some thought to this. Ghost is literally the face of the Power universe.